How's it going, guys? Brendan Healy with Cabrini here. Got Daniel WARE with me as well. And we just wanted to run you guys through the 03 collection. That's 2023 hydrofoil range, the high aspect hydrofoil range from Cabrini. So we've made some pretty significant improvements on last year's H series hydrofoils. And we're also going to introduce some pretty exciting new just foil accessories in terms of masts. We'll start off with more of like the design, like what we changed and how we think that'll affect you, and then we'll go into sizing and kind of explain the masts in a little bit. So basically, just starting off with the overall just design and what we've done a little bit differently is we're still obviously staying with this pretty high aspect design, and really what that does is it's a lot more efficiency in your foil. So it translates into a lot more glide as you're going through the water. These things pump super well, and they're also now just like very friendly for tip reaching. You can barely notice it. In previous years, you know, that was kind of a game ender. You would tip reach and then you kind of fall down and explode. So,
Explosion.
you know, so it's definitely gotten a lot better to that degree as well. In terms of design, what we've done is we've actually added a little bit more anhedral into the foils. So dihedral would be, you know, a down motion, anhedral back up towards the water surface. And we've really placed that anhedral primarily into the wingtips. And what that really allows the foil to do, it's a lot more of a loose, kind of carvy, maneuverable foil because of that. And it also, as I was mentioning before, just makes tip reaching much more reasonable and less catastrophic. In terms of sizing, hit me.
The new H series line, the mk2, comes in 5 different sizes that are all new for the 03 season. A 550, which is right here, a 700, which is what Brendan has, an 850, a 1050, and also a 1300. So there's, again, 5 complete sizes to really dial in which discipline of foiling you're really stoked on. So we're here, you know, Virginia Key in Miami, and we have a pretty wide range of conditions year round, and fortunate enough to be able to ride everything from blasting around on kite foils, winging, prone foiling, even getting into some downwind and tow days. And in the new H series line, I think there really is a foil that really suits every discipline. Starting with the 550 here, this is the smallest of the range and the most high aspect. My favorite application for this foil thus far has been kite foiling. This thing, it hauls ass. It goes really fast. It's extremely stable, has an excellent top end, a pretty stellar low end too. Stellar glide for tacks and jibes and really interesting maneuvers, and it's just overall a really fun foil. I think for powered winging, tow foiling too, I think this is really going to be an excellent option as well. The next size up is the 700, which happens to be Brendan's favorite size.
I've been using this quite a bit now, and this is, I think, my just personal favorite foil, maybe of all time. This thing's incredible. Really, for kite foiling, it's pretty excellent. It kind of reaches a point where the wingspan is just short enough so your kite foiling, you're not kind of like ripping your tips out of the water all the time. So that's, you know, really nice, still pretty maneuverable for that. And for powered winging, or really any winging you're doing in waves of decent size, this thing is just rips. It's super fast. It has a pretty, honestly, friendly low end, so you really can get pretty slow on it before it just drops out on you. Really maneuverable, but at the same time just has this like super locked in feeling. So I love this thing, can't say enough good things about it. Next size up for the 700 is an 850, and that's more of a kind of all-round do, basically like really honestly almost any wind range condition winging for relatively intermediate riders. And I'd say, you know, one thing that we're learning across like this whole, you know, development of these high aspect foils is that they really have just a ton of lift for their basically visual size. Like you look at this thing and you're like, oh, that thing's itty bitty, I'll never be able to ride this thing. But in reality, I think what we're finding is that they're just super efficient and they have plenty of lift for their comparable size. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's down in the water and they're like, oh no, you know, I'm a little bit thrown off by just like the size of the foil, that's too small for me, I can't ride that, just give it a try. I think you'll find that they're actually easier to use because they're a little bit less drag, so you're just dragging less stuff through the water as you're trying to get up onto your foil and off the water surface. So it's just a lot more efficient, it's less energy, you spend less energy pumping and all. if you haven't tried them, just give them a shot. But anyway, more about the 850.
Yeah, I think I've had a few sessions on that wing so far, specifically prone foiling. And I think it's a really excellent performance prone foil. It certainly doesn't have quite as much lift as the 1050, which we'll get into next, but what it does have is top end speed. So you get up on foil, you get on a wave, you start pumping, it just maintains speed, it glides pretty insane. And again, like Brendan was talking about the new shaping in the wings, a little more anhedral. The new design on the wingtips allows it to wing out super well and really efficiently and recover. So
I think the wing out thing, it's cool, it's rad, it's sick that these foils recover from it pretty well, but that also just translates to ease of use, right? So if you're relatively new to high aspect foils and your foil tip comes out of the water, you just don't ventilate and come off of your foil. So by that, it's just an easier foil to use than anybody would really think who's coming off of like a medium aspect foil.
And we all want to look like HEALY at the end of the day, winging out like crazy.
Totally.
So kind of gets to look like that a little bit too.
There's always that.
The last two sizes in the range, the 1050 and then the 1300. Just getting into these larger sizes, I think the emphasis on these foils is glide. They have a huge wingspan. Even the 1050, it's pretty wide overall. So that just equates to a foil that has excellent glide, pretty excellent pumpability. Maybe it doesn't roll quite as well as maybe the smaller sizes in the range, but again, with that wing out, with the wingtips being a bit more refined, once you do start rolling it, you do wing them out, it's totally recoverable and perfectly fine. So I think for your lighter wind wing days, your more average small wing days, smaller surf foiling, downwind pump and gliding, the 1050, if you're looking for something a little bit more performance oriented, or that 1300 for your lighter wind days is a pretty excellent option. I think the 1300 too, with Gwen behind the camera, that guy has been like dock starting and beach starting, I think every beach across the world at this point on the 1300 too. So something to be said for that. And
yeah, the 1300 too, I would say, it's a performance wing, but at the same time, if you're coming off of just medium aspect foils and you want to get into higher aspect foils, that thing is, literally, I would say somebody who has maybe a year's worth of wing experience could just hop right on that thing, and it's just a different world. It's very different. It's a different performance thing. It has a lot more glide. And when we talk about glide too, what that just translates into is just more time spent unpowered. So you have more time now to change your hands on your wing. If you get a little tangled up, chicken winged in your leash, whatever, you can get it off. You just have more time through your maneuvers. So it's just a little bit more friendly and honestly just a little bit more ease of use.
For sure. And yeah, again, that wider wingspan too just does equate to a bit more stability overall on that heel to rail. So if you're nervous about, again, coming up from a medium aspect foil into something so high aspect, the stability is going to be there, and you'll find it pretty quickly, and you'll be rewarded with more speed and a little more fun overall. So give it a try if you see one on the water.
That does it for the high aspect range. The new H series Mark II foils is what we're calling them. Kind of wanted to show you guys now a new mast from Cabrini. So this is a new carbon mast, just replacing last year's sizing. So now we have sizes 74, that bad boy, 84, and we have a 94. So we listened to everybody's feedback. Maybe we didn't have the largest mast in the world. Now you got it, 94. It's still not the largest in the world, but it'll get the job done. So there's also some pretty cool technology that really went into this thing. You'll notice right here on all of them, they say that they're hollow. So what that means is that,
Am I getting gypped?
Huh?
Am I getting gypped?
No, you get less carbon fiber.
I get less
for your
carbon,
money.
and it's not as good?
He gets less carbon fiber for your money. You get more for your money. So these things, they're honestly super, super stiff. So that's the whole reason that we're introducing a new carbon mast range, is to stiffen up our existing mast. And really what it does is just they're bladder molded. They're made with bladders. So you stick an air bladder in there, you inflate it against and impress it onto a mold. And really what that does is allows the fibers to just line up in such a way where the torsional stiffness of the mast it's insane.
It's pretty excellent.
So what we benefit out of that too is in comparison to some of our competitors, they're higher, really nicer masts, they're more elite sort of masts, are very, very heavy, whereas this one is significantly lighter.
Yeah, the three different sizes, 74, 84, and a 94, that really allows you to find the mast that's really suited to your discipline, or even find a mast that's suited for multiple disciplines in one mast. I'm personally really excited for the 84 to kind of be my go-to workhorse mast for this season. Maybe surf foiling, wing foiling, and even kite foiling. I think it's kind of a end-all be-all for me here on the East Coast in Miami, where our sea state's a little more flat. We don't necessarily have like a ton of really energetic groundswell like you might see in places like, I don't know, Australia, California, Hood River, Oregon. But that's going to be a great mast for me.
With a lot of other of our competitors, as they're making these ultra stiff masts, really just like premium masts, that they have to go pretty thick with the, basically just with the overall thickness of the mast to allow for some stability. Because this is hollow, we're actually, just the way that the fibers line up and torsional stability that it provides, we're able to take that thickness and bring it down quite a bit. So what you end up with is something that just has a super efficient airfoil through the water. So you really have no ventilation issues, regardless of how hard you press on this thing or how hard you turn it through the water. I mean, it's just ridiculously stiff, the whole system. We've also introduced a side bolt going through the fuselage into the mast and out the other side of the fuselage. That was introduced on the X series Mark II foils, so we're carrying that over into this range. And all that really does is, again, help to just stiffen up the whole platform.
As you can see, myself, Brendan, we're thrilled with these foils. We think you're going to be too. Keep an eye out at your local spot for a local Cabrini retailer putting up a demo, maybe your reps in your area doing a demo. You see me or someone or ever on the beach and we're taking it, just freaking steal it.
Get on one.
Don't take his. Get on it, try it out, you're going to love them. Get a new mast. 03 Cabrini foil range. It's solid.